Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome to today's Friday Live. It is Friday, September the 1st. The 1st of September, or the first day of spring, if you are in the Southern Hemisphere. So it is moving into lighter, warmer weather, which is terribly exciting. I can't wait. So pinch punch, first day of the month, all that kind of jazz. So first day of spring, and I'm guessing first day of fall for you guys on the other side. So here we are. I've got a couple of questions for you today. And as always, if you've just tuned in live, feel free to say hi and let me know where you're listening from. I do love it when people interact with me, so I'm not sitting here talking to myself. It's always lovely to know there's people out there listening, and let me know where you're listening from. And if you have a question, post it in the comments below and I will do my absolute best to answer it for you. For those of you who don't know me or are new to me, my name is Fiona Lukeis. I specialize in and very passionate about showing people a really simple, easy, and dare I say effortless way to show up to our relationships, to show up to life, to navigate our emotions, to be in relationship at a completely different level without all the complicated information that's out there, and to really find that there is a way in which you can be in relationship, be a lot more relatable and feel empowered whilst doing so. So I'm very passionate about teaching people this because I just feel, or sharing this with people because I feel that, there is just so much overcomplicated information out there. I feel like people get really stuck, and our relationships are at the heart and soul of everything. When you think about it, they really are. Our ability to do relationships well, in my opinion, is an essential life skill that we all need to learn. And the great thing is anyone can. So like I said, if you've got any questions, feel free to post them below. Hey, Roz, thanks for saying hi. Beautiful, warm, sunny, first day of spring. Yes, I know you're in Sydney. We've actually had, in this neck of the woods, one of the warmest winters in many, many, many years, which is kind of nerve-wracking because it means that we're probably going to be in for a very stinking hot summer, which means high fire season. But anyway, at this stage, it's warm, it's lovely, and spring has sprung. So thanks for saying hi, Roz. And again, if you're out there and you want to say hi to me, feel free to post in the comments below. I'm just going to give the feed a bit of time to filter through so people know that I'm here. I do have some questions today, and I'm catching up. We were about 3 weeks behind with the questions, but I'm catching up slowly but surely. I think we're either up to date or maybe 1 week out at the moment. So that's great. So, but of course, if you are listening live, I will absolutely answer your question. All right. Those people who show up live, I 100% will make sure that you get taken care of. Or if there's something that you want to share due to some of the things that you've learned from listening to my lives, feel free to post that below. I do feel that there is always a synergy in these things, or with these things, where people who post things or share things or ask questions are absolutely questions and reflections that everybody can relate to. Because like you've probably heard me say many times, we are a lot more similar than we are different. And I'm a really big believer in really looking towards the sameness of us human beings rather than our differences. Looking at our differences doesn't bring us closer together. It just has us feel like there's a mountain that we've got to climb, that we've got to deal with this first before we can connect. And that's not necessarily true. Your differences do not have to be the reason why your relationship breaks down. If it does, the differences generally complement each other. And when we're in a healthy frame of mind, we will see that. When we're in an unhealthy frame of mind, the differences look like deal breakers. It's fascinating how your frame of mind completely changes how you view things. And so this is why I'm a big believer in sharing and teaching that with my clients, students, and whoever. Hey, Rick. Hi. Beautiful on the Gold Coast. I bet it is. It's so nice to hear from you, Rick. I was just thinking about you the other day and wondering how you were and how things are going. And I hope that you're still living close to the water and enjoying all of that. That's fantastic. Okay, anybody else out there want to say hi? Please do. Don't be shy. I will start answering some questions for you shortly. But like I said, if you have a question, post it in the comments for me below. Okay, so looking at the first question today. Hi, Fiona. Listening to you talk about closing the gap. How do you do this when he says he is no longer online in late 50s and 25 years of marriage and is a workaholic with his ego wrapped up in his success? He has moved out, seemingly not realizing this breaks the family even beyond our boys into wider family. His midlife crisis makes it difficult to communicate, though I use my positive lens and try to manage thought storms. Thank you for your thoughts in an online session. Okay. I'm just trying to get my head around this question. How do you do this when he says he's no longer online in his late 50s? No, that doesn't quite make sense. So I'm just going to try and get my head around. He's a workaholic with his ego wrapped up in his success. I guess, I know last week, and I'm trying to go back to what I said last week because a lot has happened between now and last week. Hi, Calvin. Hey, thanks for saying hi from upstate New York. Okay, welcome. Okay, so I guess, last week hey, Susan, the hurricane passed us by here in Jacksonville, Florida. Phew. Oh, fantastic news. Great to know that, Susan. I'm glad that you're okay and that it did pass you guys by. Wow, that's really good to hear. Thanks for letting us know. I really appreciate that. I think last week, I was talking about the fact that, the things that get in the way in our relationships, and there are a number of things, but when we don't know how to navigate our frailties well, and most people do not, okay, and that's not a criticism, it's just an observation, and I see this based on the amount of people that I deal with each and every day. We're not taught how to navigate our frailties well. So everybody's got frailties. That's just the human condition. Everybody has them. Everybody has insecurities. That's not a problem. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It's just a part and parcel of being human, and you can't personal development them away. They don't go anywhere, but you can have a different relationship with them. Okay. Most people's relationship with their frailties and their insecurities is one of fear, is one of like this thing that they have to fix and overcome and understand and eradicate and manage and change. And so their relationship with them is that they see them as some sort of an indication of something being wrong with them. And, that's just not true. When you have a different understanding of these things, you kind of approach them with a sense of calm, with a more lighthearted approach, without the fear. And of course, when you're navigating your insecurities differently, you naturally navigate somebody else's insecurities differently. Okay. This is very, very, very important. Okay. People, when we don't know how to navigate our insecurities, we are going to be shocking at navigating somebody else's. And so the reason I'm pointing that out is because when there is a gap, so that a gap could be a misunderstanding between the two of you, where it feels like you're on opposite planets with you or anybody. This can be with anyone. It doesn't have to be your intimate partner. It could be with a child, a family member, a friend, a boss, a work colleague. When we feel that there is that gap, okay, what people tend to do is lean out, meaning they buckle down, they kind of go into self-defense mode, and they close in, okay, and their defenses come out. And so they go into me mode, thinking about me, or it's all about me and I. And when we've got a lot of me and I-centered thinking, we just get really caught in our ego. And then from there, our level of intelligence drops, and we just don't have the capacity to actually navigate anything well, okay? And so when we don't do those things well, we innocently build up a history of dealing with conflict poorly or differences poorly. Now, as that starts to become the norm in our relationships, that's where all of the tension, walking on eggshells, people overthinking, people ruminating, people being caught in the past, people trying to micromanage the future, people, right? And nobody actually showing up with a present grounded state of mind, which is life-changing in our relationships, okay? Life-changing, something people struggle with and often don't have a reference point for. So a reference point would be your ability to know when you are there, okay? So without all of that, and for a lot of people, this is missing. And it's not because there's something wrong with you or something wrong with the other person. We're just not taught this stuff. Okay. Now, teaching someone about the way men think and about the way women think doesn't help with this. Can you see that? It doesn't help. This is the fundamental stuff that needs to change. This is the fundamental stuff we need to learn how to do well. You know, the day that I learned to navigate my frailties without the fear and the self-defense and the shame and the guilt and the need to hide them and all those things, which is how most of us do, is the day that I started to show up in a calmer, kinder, more present, more emotionally intelligent, more compassionate, understanding, curious frame of mind. Now, you can imagine the ripple effect of that in my life and in my marriage and my relationships. It's been extraordinary and therefore has become my life's work, because I can see that the change in me is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. And as I always say to my clients and my relatable students, you know, we were actually talking about this on Wednesday night. You know, there are times in life where a human being is walking that dark night of the soul. 100%. We are. And every single person will have that experience, walking the dark night of the soul, where it feels like nothing is going your way, where it feels like there are things happening in your life that you never imagined would be, that you're in a situation you never conceived of. And everything you think you know to be true about you and other people is starting to crumble. And you're looking out there and you're like, what the heck is going on? Why is this so hard? I'm a good person. I've worked hard. I don't deserve this. Like, everybody's had an experience of this in one form or another. Most definitely me. And I've had more than one. And most definitely you guys. Now, if we don't know how to navigate our frailties well, when you have an experience like that, your suffering goes up exponentially, and your ability to handle somebody else's suffering or their frailties, their worries, their concern is something that you find almost impossible. Okay, so knowing how to do this stuff well is, I just think, fundamentally something we should all be learning, because, you know, now that I know this, it means that no matter what comes my way, I handle it from a completely different state of mind, from a different filter. I feel this. I can experience joy. I can experience calm. I can have all sorts of different experiences, even if I'm going through a really challenging, difficult, horrendous situation. Now, that was something I never had access to before. And to me, when it comes to the quality of my life, when it comes to the quality of my relationships, when it comes to my general level of well-being, this is something I want to have in my back pocket, right? Helps me navigate whatever comes my way. So coming back to this lady's question, you know, from what you're saying, your husband is going through a midlife crisis. He's moved out of the family home. He's struggling. It's like, how do you close the gap? Well, you close the gap by navigating your own frailties well first. That's how you close the gap. Instead of people lean out and they shut down and they go into their own state of mind, they go into their own ego, they go into their own reality, and they don't connect, because people get afraid. I get it. I used to do it all the time. I would shut down and I wouldn't speak to my husband for hours or days. Terrible. I'm not proud of it, but that was how I used to be. So you learn to lean in, and now leaning in those times is where you come from a place of neutrality, curiosity. You ask questions. You lean in by seeking to understand someone else's reality and what's going on for them. Right? Now, we can't do that if we're not navigating our frailties well, because if I'm not navigating my frailties well, I don't have access to those kind of resources, the capacity for that, right? The capacity to be curious, the capacity to be neutral, the capacity to seek to understand. I'm too busy in defense mode. And that's where most people are. And so we just miss stuff. And so your ability to lean in when something difficult is going on is your ability, and I'm going to simplify this even more, okay, is your ability to get over yourself, right? And this is something we all struggle with. I'll put my hand up again. I was shocking at getting over myself, like shocking. I don't even know if I'd give myself a 1 out of 10 for it. My skill set around that was so bad. And I, you know, I'm still a work in progress around that. Don't always nail that, but oh my goodness, I can get over myself in about 5 seconds now, which used to take me days. And even then, I'd still have this residual stuff that I'd carry around. And when the conditions seemed right, I'd just throw it into a conversation with my husband or whoever if I felt that was appropriate. So, it's our ability to do that. And we can do it. It's easier than you think. And you can do it even if things are not going the way you would like them to. I really need you to know this. It is not dependent on the other thing being a certain way. We are independent of this stuff. This is, again, something people don't understand. Now, when you have that knowing, that's where it's very, very freeing, because you can come back to that place when things like here are not going your way, such as, this lady's husband has moved out of the family home and is going through some sort of breakdown, okay, or a midlife crisis. And I know many of you have had that experience, whether it be your wife, your husband, or whatever. You have to start there. You want to lean in instead of lean out, which is what this question's all about. Your ability to get over yourself, your ability to understand what's going on, your ability to navigate your own frailties first. I always say to people, and this is, to me, the heart and soul of everything. When you know how to navigate you before you navigate this, your life becomes infinitely easier, more fulfilling, more connected, more grounded, and your ability to do relationships well is off the charts. But this is what most of us do not do. We don't navigate ourselves. We're not looking at where you are in relationship to this. We're always looking at where this is in relationship to us. And so that's what I mean by looking in the wrong direction. And this is where we get very, very stuck. Our suffering increases. We do all the overthinking, and we find ourselves in these cycles that just keep repeating. And it's exhausting, absolutely exhausting and debilitating. Hello, everyone. There's lots of people saying hello to me now, so I appreciate that. You're close to the water. Oh, thank you, Rick. Always appreciate your wisdom and ripples of love. Oh, there are. I hope you can feel that. I do try and send ripples of love to you all through these lives. I really do. Teresa, hi from Toledo in Ohio. Okay, fantastic. Hello, Teresa. Hi, lovely Lucy. I know that I hear the sun shining in Sydney. Rose, Mount Shasta, must be getting colder there, Rose. First day of fall. Oh, no, not first day for you guys. I know you're a day behind. Well, it's coming. Thanks for saying hi, Rose. Hi, Christy. Thank you, honey. Always love watching you live free from Northern California. Thank you so much, Christy. I so appreciate that. Giovanna, hello. Oh, hello, lovely. It's so important to befriend our frailties. We are all human after all. So very true, honey. Yes, so very true. Hey, Kirsten. Oh, look at this. Thank you, everybody. See, can you see I'm all smiley and glowy because you've said hi to me? So appreciate it. So anyway, I hope that helps with that question. If anybody has any questions about what I've just shared or whatever, post them in the comments. If what I've said, you're like, hang on, what do you mean by that? Let me know. Spring has sprung. Yes, it has, Lucy. Spring has sprung. Woohoo. Okay, so next question. Hi, Fiona. I find myself in the story you described in your Q&A. My husband feels he wants to give up, but says he's still willing to work on things. Okay, I want to address that right there. Okay, my husband feels he wants to give up, but says he's still willing to work on things. I so relate to your husband, right? Because that absolutely was me. I really, at that point in time that where I came across this, I just wanted to give up because I just couldn't see a way forward. To me, there was no way out from this other than to just let the relationship go. Honestly, that's how I saw it. And so I so relate to that. It's that feeling of, it's not because I necessarily wanted to leave my husband, although I did. It was just more that I just didn't feel that we could ever change the patterns we were in, the cycles we were in. I just didn't think there was any way forward. So the only thing that made sense was to separate. So I can really relate to that comment. And I actually think that there are a lot of people who leave a relationship, not necessarily because they've got a burning desire to leave per se, but more that, oh, well, I just don't think this is ever going to change, right? And so you give up and you walk away. So that statement does make sense to me, that he wants to give up, but he's willing to work on things. So, what I hear in that is, yeah, he's ready to give up because he's just so, he's lost hope, he's lost faith, he's stuck, he can't see anything changing. He's in that place. But if someone was to show him a way forward, he's open to looking at it, right? That's really what, in my opinion, is what your husband's saying. Okay. And truly that was true for me. I wanted to give up. I just felt like there was no possibility for change. But if someone had shown me a way forward, I would have been open to looking at it. So that's a good thing, because that tells you that the door's still open. All right. He hasn't completely checked out. He's like, if you can show me a pathway forward, because I can't see one, so I'm giving up. Right. But if someone can show me a pathway forward, I'm willing to look at it. So that's a very hopeful thing. All right. I just want to really point that out. I have been unable to connect with my husband in an effective way because I was raised with emotional neglect. I need to learn to break the cycle and learn how to connect emotionally. We are worried it may be too late. It's never, ever, ever too late. I really want you to know that. It's never too late. Please take that off your mental load. It's never too late. Never. I've shared with you guys, my oldest client was an 86 or 89-year-old man. Okay, he's my oldest client, and he wanted to learn how to connect better with his wife. Okay, it's never too late. It's only too late if you say so. Never too late is such an arbitrary made-up thing. All right, never too late means different things to different people, which is why you can see that it's an arbitrary made-up thing. It is never too late. And I'm sorry that you were brought up with emotional neglect. I really am. But I want you to know that we all are, we're built to do this stuff well. We are. We're beautifully designed to do this stuff well. It's another thing that I talk about and teach in my Relatable program. People start appreciating how brilliantly designed we are to do relationships really well. It's a natural thing. It's naturally built in. You just need to see that. That's all. And when we've dealt with emotional abuse or trauma from our childhood, we just lose touch with that. But it doesn't mean that it goes anywhere. It's still there, right? It's just getting back in touch with what's already there. Now, once you see that, it's like some of the layers and things fall away. People get really excited. They get really hopeful. They feel empowered and confident. It's like, I can do this. I'm not damaged goods that can never recover. And if you are feeling that way, I really want you to know that that's not true. Okay? I really want you to know that, because there are certain things that are at our essence that are unchangeable, no matter what we may go through in our lives, that are untouchable inside each and every one of us. And it's just a matter of waking them back up again. And that's possible for anybody. So no, it's never, ever, ever too late. So if you're sitting there wondering the same thing, my answer is the same for you. It's never too late. I really want you to know that. Is there anything you would recommend? I would welcome and appreciate any suggestions. Okay, well, look, of course, if someone's going to ask me what I would recommend, of course I'm going to recommend my program. Come on. I mean, that only makes sense, right? Look, truly, honey, my Relatable program would help you so much with that. It would have you looking in a different direction. It would have you relating to your thinking differently, putting down mental load, feeling calmer, grounded, more comfortable in your own skin, navigating your frailties well. All of the stuff that I'm talking about is what I teach in Relatable. Okay, so if you're wanting to feel more emotionally resilient, navigate your emotions differently, feel more connected, grounded, calmer, more emotionally intelligent, that's everything that I teach in Relatable. Okay, which has you show up differently. And when I think there's something so empowering and freeing when you show up the way you've always wanted to show up. Because for me, that was something I'd not had an experience of. I was always showing up the way I didn't really want to show up, and feeling like I could never show up the way I wanted to. Calm, grounded, present, kind. Well, I guess it's not that I was unkind. I was just so busy-minded and reactionary. Okay. That I just never quite showed up from that place. It was like a block there. I often say I felt like there was this hardness in my chest that I think stuff used to bounce off emotionally, whereas that's gone. And the feeling of that is indescribable. It's amazing. I'm just so grateful that that's gone. I didn't even know it was there until it wasn't there, right? That's that whole thing about when something is invisible and we normalize it and we don't know it's there. So 100% I would recommend for anybody who wants those things that I've just described. That's all on offer for you inside of Relatable. All right. So I hope that helps, and thank you for asking your question. And I really wish you all the very best with that. Okay, so I'm just going to do a quick check-in and see how everyone's doing here. Is what I'm saying making sense? Anyone have any questions? Thank you, Giovanna. Giovanna is in my Relatable program, and she just said relatable, absolutely. I've watched so many people's lives open to a sense of calm, freedom, including mine. Priceless. Thank you, honey. Thank you for your kind words. I really appreciate that. It's so lovely. Thank you. Anybody else have questions, comments, anything you want me to expand on? How you're doing with what I'm talking about so far? Is this making sense? Is this helpful to you? Would love some feedback if anyone wants to make a comment for me, because it just helps me know. Excuse me, helps me know if I'm speaking in a direction that's relevant to you guys, because I want to make sure that this is useful to you. Okay. So if someone could give me some feedback, I'd really, really, really appreciate it. Don't be shy. Okay, so next question. This is probably going to be the last question I'm going to be able to get through for today. So next question is, okay. Hi, Fiona. My wife and I have been married for 22 years, and she told me 5 weeks ago that I don't communicate very well. She has never communicated that before, and she has to decide whether I'm going to be a part of her future. She is honestly my soulmate, and it has broken my heart ever since. She wants space and time to decide what she wants to do. She has been extremely stressed with our family business, and I'm wondering if this has made her question our marriage. I have asked her to go and talk to someone, but she hasn't booked anything as of yet. Okay. Now, this isn't so much of a question to me. It's more of a statement. But I do want to address something that I find interesting in what this person has sent through to me. So what I find interesting, and you know, this is very important to all of you listening. So this man sent this question in about the fact that his wife has said his wife has told him that he doesn't communicate well. And that is news to him because she's never communicated that before, so he obviously didn't realize it. And she's now needing to decide whether he is going to be a part of her future. Now, he's saying here, she is my soulmate and it's broken my heart. She wants space and time to decide what she wants to do. And she's extremely stressed with the business and wondering if it's made her question their marriage. Now, he's asked her to go and talk to someone. What I find interesting, right, and if you are listening to this and this is your question or statement, what I'm curious about is how come you haven't gone to see someone, right? Because what you want to do right now is understand what your wife means. Get really curious about that when she says that you don't communicate well. You need to find out what's going on there, okay? Because whether she's been stressed about the business, whether she's been stressed about all of that stuff, and that may well be true, there is a role that you're playing here, and you need to go get some advice to, go learn about that and discover what that is, so that you're not just kind of waiting for her to do something, right? This is very much something that you need to, like, to me, I'm very curious about that in your statement, you're mentioning that your wife hasn't booked anything in yet. And I'm guessing you find that a bit perplexing if she's worried. But really, equally, this is something that you need to be doing and you need to be leading the way on. You need to be looking for answers. And if it were me, I wouldn't stop until I found them. Like, what is it that your wife means when she says that you don't communicate well? And if she can't give you the answer, go and see a professional who can help you to understand what that is, so you can start changing that. You can start communicating differently so that you can show your wife that there is change underfoot and it's not all dependent upon her. It's very important. All right. So if I were in your shoes and my husband said that to me, Fiona, you don't communicate well and I've got to decide whether you're a part of my future, I would absolutely be doing everything I could to understand that better so I could create the changes I need to create. Okay. And I'm a little bit concerned, and I don't know enough here, so I could have that wrong. I'm a little bit concerned that you aren't mentioning that or asking about that for yourself in that statement. Because when you don't get curious about that stuff, just that in of itself tells the other person a lot, right? It says to the other person, hey, I'm not invested in change. He says to the other person, hey, I'm not curious enough to find out more about this. Okay. And this is absolutely something. If your wife is reconsidering your marriage, I would be leaving no stone unturned until I found out about that and I started to learn a bit more about me and what it is what my blind spots are, what are the things that I'm missing here, rather than waiting for her to go and see someone. And that in of itself would tell her a lot about how much she matters, how much your marriage matters, how much it all matters, right? Very, very, very important. I'll be doing that ASAP. Giovanna, spring looks good on you, Fiona. Oh, thank you. Yeah, can you see how bright the sun is? It's shining. It's so beautiful. It's gorgeous. Christy, hearing of the changes you have made in your relationship gives me hope. You make complete sense. Thank you so much, honey. And I'm glad it gives you hope. Hope is such a wonderful place to look through the lens of life from. Really, it really is. It's a very expansive place to look through the the lens of life from. Sorry, and it gives you access to thinking and resources that you don't have when you're not looking through the lens of hope. Hope is very important. So I do love to hear that. I hope that by listening to this, it gives you a sense of hope of what's possible, because that alone is going to expand your mind from here to here. That alone will create change, just that, because it gives you access to more philosophical thinking, calmer thinking, more grounded thinking. Okay. It is a higher level of intelligence when you're looking at something from here versus here. All right. Ian, hi, Ian. If your partner won't go to counseling together, going alone is an option. 100%. I couldn't agree with you more. And in fact, if I'm working with a couple, I will always work with them alone first before I bring them together. And I will only bring them together when I think they're ready. Okay. And I think that's very, very important. I think it's a big mistake that's made out there is people put two people in a room who've got low goodwill, who are don't have a lot of hope, who are really stuck, frustrated, defensive, who are, kind of here, and then ask them to solve something that requires a much higher level of emotional intelligence, a greater level of calm, and the fundamental ability to get over yourself. If you don't have those things in place, that can be an absolute total disaster. So the biggest change I see when I'm working with my couples is the stuff we do alone. So but by the time they come together, they're having a conversation and they're discussing things through the lens of goodwill. I was just with a couple in New Zealand last night, and when they started with me, they were in separate rooms, had been for quite some time, barely speaking, and really struggling and miserable. I was watching them together. They were sitting on their couch and they were talking about stuff, and they were laughing and giggling and leaning in and, talking about a couple of things that they would, wanted to get off their chest, but it was being accepted with so much goodwill. It was being accepted with so much understanding, because they've built this trust now where they know that if someone's saying, hey, I need some help with this, or I'd like to change this, they know that the other person is coming with their best interests at heart. That's what happens when you build up goodwill. And I was looking at that and I was like, I said to them both, I said, you guys are just rocking this. It's amazing. So different. Lightness, laughter, playfulness, and really being able to talk to the stuff that matters, with no defensiveness, no shutting down, because they're navigating their frailties beautifully. You navigate yours well, the other person navigates theirs well, you navigate them beautifully together. okay? But one person can start that entire process, absolutely. So if you're sitting there thinking my partner won't do this, you can, but you would be amazed at what the change that you can bring, truly. Because this is the thing that brings us unstuck, our inability to get over ourselves, to navigate our frailties, to show up differently. We struggle with that, and therefore we just keep perpetuating the same stuff, the same cycle. All right. When you're doing that well, it creates emotional safety for the other person. When people feel emotionally safe, the best of them comes out. Their frailties take more of a back seat. And then you can really start to build something really awesome together. So one person, 100% can make a change. Truly, I cannot emphasize this enough. All right. I cannot emphasize this enough. Hey, Rose, it is true. One person can be the start of change. Absolutely. And I know you know that, Rose. I know you know that. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me on today's live, the first day of spring. I will be here next Friday. But I do need to let you know that I am going on leave Saturday. I'm very excited. I'm going to Lombok, which is an island off the coast of Bali, and I'm just going to sit on a beach for a couple of weeks and rest and sleep and swim and, dream of the next program I'm creating. I just need some creative time and space to do that. So I won't be running the lives while I'm away. I will be shutting off everything and regenerating my brain and mind, soul, body. So next Friday's live is the last live until the end of September. So if you do have a question you want me to ask, send it in and I'll answer it for you next Friday. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for joining me. As always, if you want to find out more about Relatable, you can book a call with me and have a chat with me about it. I also do send out links to Relatable with my roundup email. That's for everyone on my email list. It gets sent out every Friday. But if you want to have a chat with me about it more and get started on that amazing journey, let me know and I'll put a link to book a chat in the thread. All right, everyone, take care. See you next week. Ciao.